I want to give you 3 approaches to hitting your protein goals and getting in. And it's kind of not controversial. It's just weird to say, like, get the minimum in. But sometimes when you have a million other things going on, like, just get the minimum amounts in that you need to make sure that your body still stays up and running the way it should, and that you feel as good as you can when you're trying to juggle a million other things.
You're listening to The Next Bite, a food and fitness podcast hosted by yours truly, Danny Phillips. For nearly a decade, I've helped hundreds of women conquer their struggles around food and exercise. With a little bit of science,
creamy, salty, sweet, and oaky nuttiness. You detect that?
And humor.
Oh, I'm detecting nuttiness.
Close your eyes.
I'm here to break down nutrition one bite at a time so that you can take one more daily struggle off your plate. Now, I know you're short on time, so in each episode, I'll help you navigate conflicting diet trends.
Everybody says flavor's so important, and it is, but texture matters more.
Confusing food labels.
No! Spit that out right now!
And crazy health claims that bombard your brain daily.
MSG, the king of flavor.
I'm gonna nerd out about the research so that you don't have to, and I'll be able to guide you in deciphering what's optimal versus what's your best option that's available to you in that moment.
Jonesing for a cupcake, and I was having a mild pregnancy tantrum that I could not get a cupcake even though I owned a cupcake shop.
If you're wondering why the world is constantly talking about protein and macros,
give me all the bacon and eggs you have.
Or just trying to answer the never-ending question, what's for dinner?
Started making it, had a breakdown. Bon appetit.
You're in the right place. Are you ready? Let's go find your next bite.
Hey, welcome back to The Next Bite. My name is Danny and I'm your host, and it is the day before Christmas Eve. I'm so excited to just be back on here and speaking with you guys before Christmas. I mean, it's been a wild year. Y'all have heard a little bit of my journey. I'm in the middle, in the thick of it, of a lot of transition, a lot of change. I'm currently staying at a friend's home. We closed on our house in Louisiana a couple weeks ago, and we're in the process of finding a house in Orlando. So very excited, but just a lot going on. I just finished my first online class. I enrolled with Kaiser University, and I am going back to school. I'm going back to school for my master's in nutrition. So I just finished my first class, and I'm excited to take a break, even though I just got back into it. It's really challenging to be in a class when you are still working and also moving out of your house and also trying to find a new house and also like trying to connect with friends and family over the holidays. I don't recommend starting a class the week of Thanksgiving. That was a big learning curve. So now that I know, I won't do that again. But let's get to before we get to today's topic, because I know you want to hear about protein and how you can make sure you stay on top of that with tomorrow being Christmas. I want to make sure that you guys didn't miss last week's episode. So I had a friend on the show. Her name is Laura Banks, and she's a health coach. We met at a workshop a few months ago in Arizona, and we just connected right off the bat. She actually lives in Florida too, so we're kind of new business besties. But we talked all about her health journey, how she healed her relationship with food, and how she's helping other people to do the same. So lots of discussion on strategy and boundaries versus restriction, and how she meal preps and how she has her husband involved in that so that it works for the whole family. So if you missed it, don't worry, you haven't really missed it. You just haven't listened to it yet. Go back and check it out. It's episode 281. I'll link it in the show notes below. Okay. Oh, and she also interviewed me. So if you like our episode, go check out her podcast as well. It's called Isn't She Powerful? So go check that out, and you'll hear her interview of me over there. So now on to protein. Y'all know we talk a lot about protein on this podcast, and protein over the holidays is just as important as it is not over the holidays. But I know it's a little bit more challenging when you have extra parties and festivities, and either you're doing the travel or somebody else is traveling to you, like it's hard to keep your routine in check when you're out of your routine because there's something extra special going on. So I want to give you 3 approaches to hitting your protein goals and getting in. And it's kind of not controversial. It's just weird to say, like, get the minimum in. But sometimes when you have a million other things going on, like, just get the minimum amount in that you need to make sure that your body still stays up and running the way it should, and that you feel as good as you can when you're trying to juggle a million other things. So, knowledge is power, my friends, but you have to do something with it. So, I'm going to do a little bit of education here on 3 different ways that you can calculate how much protein you need, and then we'll talk about how you can get there. So, number 1, the daily value. So, if you're looking at a nutrition fact label and you see it says percentage DV, that stands for daily value. So, it's giving you the serving size for each nutrient that they're sharing in that nutrition fact panel, and it's telling you how much in a percentage of their total daily value you're receiving. So in the case of protein, the protein percentage daily value is considered 50 grams. This is a kind of bare minimum amount. A lot of these bare minimums, or a lot of these numbers today, are focused on what is the amount that your body needs so that it is not deficient in protein. So again, we're not looking for optimal numbers here. How much do you need to get by? Okay, so 50 grams is that daily value that nutrition fact labels reference. Okay, next, dietary reference allowance. You might hear this referred to kind of interchangeably as a DRI or a DRA, your dietary reference intake. Again, this is how much do you need to make sure that you aren't deficient in protein. So the recommendation for like general health, lifestyle, like maintenance is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So my example here, I'm using myself. I'm about 125 pounds. To convert to kilograms, I divide my body weight in pounds by 2.2, which gives me roughly 57 kilograms. Remember, 0.8 grams per kilogram is that DRA. So 57 multiplied by 0.8 gives me 46 grams of protein per day. And that changes a little bit if you are more active than the average person, or if you're an athlete. And there's even there's a lot of studies out there in the physique science world, the athletic world, that showcase that there are benefits of having protein. 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight up to 1.7, and even up to, I've seen 2.2 in some studies. So there could be different reasons and benefits for someone depending on circumstances. So if you are maintaining your health right now, then aiming for 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight is a kind of a minimum place to be to hit those goals. So again, for me, with those calculations, that's 46 grams of protein per day. I typically try to do somewhere between double and triple that, and that's a healthier amount for me. I would say I'm moderately active at this point. I try to work out on average 3 times per week, 45 to 60 minutes of strength and resistance training, and then I try to walk 5 days a week for 30 minutes. So that's moderately active, guys. So just take that into account if you're trying to figure out what you need to be doing. Okay. For the third one, so we've gone through daily value, your dietary reference allowance, and now we have your acceptable macronutrient distribution range, or your AMDR. This is a percentage range of protein when it comes to your total calories. So the AMDR for protein is 10 to 35%. And they also at the same time recommend 15 to 30 grams of protein per meal to hit that number. So for example, and this is also very similar for me, if I'm having 2,000 calories per day, I want to figure out what 10% is and then what 35% is. And then I'm going to kind of use that as a range. It's a very large range. It's a much larger range than I would typically recommend for clients. But again, we're trying to be pretty lenient here over the holidays. So getting somewhere in that range will do you well. Okay, 10% of 2,000 calories, 200 calories. 1 gram of protein, which is how we measure macronutrients, is worth 4 calories. So if I take 200 calories, divide by 4 calories per gram, that gives me on the low end of this range 50 grams of protein. Moving on to the 35%. 2,000 calories multiplied by 0.35 gives us 700 calories. Divide by 4 calories per gram, and that gives us 175 grams of protein. You might be like, yeah, that's a lot, Danny. Like, that's not going to work for me. I understand that would not be reasonable for me most days either. I'm probably somewhere close to my body weight in grams of protein per day. Maybe my range is probably closer to like 100 to 130 grams per day. And there's certainly reasons I might go over that. But so that 50 grams or that 10% is way too low for me, but the 35% is also way too high for me. So find a spot, and for my workshops, I typically teach how to do 25%. So maybe 20 to 25% is a more reasonable place for you to aim for. But again, we're looking for like, how can we get by? How can we make sure that with all the extra high fat, high sugar, holiday items that are going to be in front of us, we can still hit those minimum protein goals. So if you need to look at like, how can I make sure I just get 10% over the holidays? Like, this is how you need to do it. So in conclusion, with these 3 different ways to calculate and understand your protein intake, and again, this was an example for me, but it might go for a lot of you. We're looking at 50 grams per the daily value. For me, for the dietary reference allowance, that was on the low end, 46 grams of protein per day, that 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. And then that 10% for the AMDR, if you're taking in 2,000 calories per day, was also 50 grams of protein. So now you just need to figure out how to get about 50 grams of protein per day. So one very simple way, love the coffee, right? Well, there's actually protein in here. So I'm just sipping on a protein shake right now. I do have coffee in my protein shake, but a lot of times protein shakes are anywhere from 20 to 30 or even 40 grams of protein. So if that is your one thing that you can do daily to get your protein intake, to that 50 grams, fantastic. Like add that protein shake in and then you won't have to worry the rest of the day. Collagen waters, collagen teas, collagen peptide supplements, most of those they're usually in a powdered form, but some of them are in, mixed in liquid form already. And a lot of those give you between 10 and 20 grams of collagen protein as well. So that would be an easy way to make sure that you're getting in somewhere between a third and maybe almost a half of your intake if you're taking in, 2 to 3 scoops of collagen peptides. Typically a serving size of, vital proteins, collagen peptides is 2 scoops and it gives you about 18 grams of protein. So it's a very easy way to just mix it into something that you're already enjoying and get that protein intake up. If you're doing something simple for breakfast, like eggs, 1 whole egg has about 7 grams of protein in it. An egg white by itself is probably closer to 4. So, if you have a couple of those, that can definitely help you get your protein intake up. And let's see, if you're doing, a major like meat source for your major holiday meal, about 4 ounces of chicken is going to run you approximately 26 grams of protein. If you're looking at something like a steak, it might be closer to 3 or 3.5 ounces. That gives you that like 25 to 30 grams of protein. So you definitely don't need to eat a 12-ounce steak to get to hit your goals. You can, but there are definitely smaller portions that will help you reach your goals. So I would just recommend trying to keep a protein source as a part of every main meal that you have over the holidays, and you should be good to go. And just a friendly reminder, protein is your most satiating macronutrient. So it's going to keep you satisfied. It may help you not to have too many munchies after your main meal. So if you're trying to think of ways that you can keep the sugar lower, try to keep the protein and your fiber higher, and that's going to help cut back on some of those excess sugar snatches, shall we say. Okay, that's going to wrap us up for today. Your bonus tip here is to try the supplement Glossy. Okay, I am an affiliate for this supplement and I have it almost daily. I have for the last year. It is a skincare routine that you can drink, but it also is really helpful when it comes to bloating. And y'all, when do we find some bloating over the holidays with all the excess things? Yes, yes, we do. So if you're looking for a powder that you can put into your water that, it has electrolytes in it, it's great for your skin, it's got hyaluronic acid in it, and you want to help kind of get a little gut health in there, a little probiotic work in there, I would definitely check out Glossy. I'll put the link in the show notes. And that's where we're going to wrap things up for today. So Merry Christmas. Enjoy your protein. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.
That's it for today's bite-sized insights. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with a friend who has mentioned the topic of today's chat and help spread the word. Thank you for your ratings, reviews, and support. They mean the world to me, and they are what help me to continue creating this show. Until next time, I hope you enjoy your next bite.
If you are what you eat, then I only want to eat the good stuff.